Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the 4th season of Les Oderants. This is our Christmas special. I am Dan and I am joined, as always, by the two proper Oderants, James and Ben. And I managed to... We sort of ruined it there, haven't you? Just by snorting. You're butting in. I haven't even got through my fucking introduction and you're butting in. Like...
I know, it's like the proper ones, but then the other one.
Yes, we managed to prevail.
God,
We managed to prevail upon Fliss to join us for one episode before Christmas. Welcome, Ben, James, and Fliss. Everyone say hello.
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 Fliss, how have you been?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. It's just a lot of life.
James, how have you been?
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Off to a great start there.
Yeah, you are aware that this is a podcast, aren't you? And that the spoken word is, in fact, our medium.
There's been a lot of life. I really need this sabbatical. I'm very grateful for everyone for letting me have the time. But I just don't want to discuss it because I just want to discuss frags. Otherwise, I'll cry.
Oh. All right. Well, it's wonderful to have you back. Although, if you could stop butting in like some simple-minded horse, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. I don't know where that came from.
I love that.
I'm sorry, Fliss.
Okay.
I love that. I love it. Yeah. So, James, how have you been? Brilliant, you say.
All right, yeah. Not
All
bad.
right, yeah. No,
for me,
fun,
yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, good. Okay. You
Yeah.
want to tell us?
Haven't 14, sorry.
You haven't. Well,
I haven't done my homework. No, I didn't. I wasn't feeling it, so I didn't do it.
yeah, which interestingly
think...
is exactly the same way my kids explain not having done their homework to me. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it, Dad, to be honest. I just didn't bother. All right, okay, good. Uh-huh.
I mean, does that fly? Because I used to try that when I was a kid, and that never flew. Like,
it doesn't fly with me.
I was going to say,
although, but James's lack of full 14 that flies on the strength of not feeling it.
Well, what it is that I think I should start it maybe when we come back. That would be better. I've been wearing stuff, don't get me wrong.
I'm sure.
I've been wearing things. And I've been wearing pretty much one different thing every day. I just didn't write it down.
Okay.
So,
well, It's a shame you didn't write it down, but can you remember, apart from the things we're going to be talking about in the second part, can you remember anything you've been wearing that might be worth talking about?
Yeah, maybe.
God,
this is brilliant. This is the best podcast ever made.
I'm so pleased I came back for this.
So Fliss doesn't want to talk about anything. James can't think of anything to talk about.
No, I mean, do people want to hear me talk about Over the Musk again? Do you know what I mean?
No,
not really, do they?
Probably not. That's
Well, I'll just say this, that like people might think that I love that perfume and that I've worn it like hundreds of times and that I'm always going on about it. But I'm not really. I think I mentioned it once. It's like the thing I bought it, I went, that's...
You've mentioned it more than once.
No, I think Dan's mentioned it more than me, and I've gone, oh yeah, I've got that as well. But anyway, okay, I may have mentioned it a few times.
You sent it to us. I mean, that was the first time I tried it, was because you sent it to us to review when we did an episode called maybe
You mention it really regularly, to be fair.
Well, I'll tell you something, right? So I can't mention it that regularly because I probably bought it, I don't know, more than 5 years ago, right? Probably. I don't know. It's probably been discontinued that fucking long. I don't know. Maybe I've had it for... longer than that, right? Let's say I've had it for 7 years, right? I've probably worn it that many times.
7 times?
What? 5 times, maybe.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's
right.
No.
I'll show you the bottle.
Yeah,
like, there's barely like a mil gone out of it.
But do you... I mean, because a lot of perfumes I don't wear as well, but I sort of do spend quite a bit of time reminding myself how they smell by just sort of like maybe spraying them on a tester strip or back of my hand or whatever. So although I would say comfortably that I've not worn at least half my collection in the last probably 12, 24 months, I do at least go through them quite regularly and spray them and go, yeah, still love that. Yeah, it still smells the same as it did last time. So
I mean, I do that, but not to the point of like using a lot. I'm just making the point that I might go on about fragrance or like bang on about something like Fahrenheit or whatever, but I rarely wear them. Like, you know,
that's the problem, though, isn't it? Where we buy all these bottles, right, and then spend most of the time wearing samples, or at least I do. It's ridiculous.
So, are you really going to point out that this is a silly habit and it's all ridiculous? I mean,
next thing you know, we'll be starting a podcast and talking about hours, talking for hours about them,
hours and hours about this absolute bullshit. No, I mean, I agree with everything there. It is frankly a preposterous waste of time and money, but I like to think of it like this. I could be out taking lots of drugs and I don't know, hang on a minute, maybe I should be out taking them.
No, but wait, hang on, wait.
You know, I always say to Lisa that I'm not out at the pub every night doing loads of coke, and it's just occurred to me that probably I should be. Actually, that'd be fucking well good. Right, this perfume stuff stops immediately. Bring on the hard drugs, I say. Okay, well, so James is not talking about Over the Musk. Ben, what have you got to talk about?
I've been wearing loads of Serge Lutton. Rich sent me like an absolute horde of it, like just so many.
Does that?
To be honest, I've really now struggled to bring any to mind because there's so many. But Queer Moresque, I bloody loved. I don't know if you guys know that one.
I don't know it.
It's a honking leather and iris perfume.
Honking.
Reminded me a lot, actually, of that one that I was wearing a lot of last time, Lover's Tale. It was different perfume, but it had that same like just stinking like leather that just lasts forever and is sort of mixed with a very sort of fluffy floral element, which say is a bit like Lover's Tale, and so that they're very like. There's no point like comparing them together because they're different perfumes, but they just felt very similar, if you know what I mean, in like the vibe. It felt very similar, and it really stank as well, which was great. The leather was really like raw and sort of like in your face. It calmed down, obviously, but at first I was
mega
like,
stinks.
Yeah, like at first I literally sent Rich a text saying like, this Queer Moresque stinks. It was I think pretty much the first thing I said, but yeah, that was really good. So that was really nice. I'm just full of positivity today because everything I've been smelling has been brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything's been
unusual.
Brilliant. I know. Because apart from that, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff from Rich, but I should do it justice and like write them down and go back through them. But yeah, so I've been wearing a lot of that, and but I've been wearing loads of Enigma Parfum Pour Homme, which I still feel really bad about. But it's just such good perfume. It's
heartbroken.
I am
absolutely heartbroken.
Every time, the duality of man. Every time I spray it, right, I go like, oh, I hate myself. But
I hate myself, but I smell so good.
I just love it. But it's a great perfume. The only thing I would say, well, there's two things. I still think it reminds me a lot of L'Homme Idéal Parfum from Gallant, the old kind of pinky grey one that they released. I still think it smells a lot like that, but it's a bit more cherry cokey, and you can sort of feel it's a bit richer almost, which I know is a bit of a pretentious thing to say, but it does feel a bit more, I don't know, cloudy and rich, I guess. And also, it just goes on forever, which I know a lot of people would really love that, and, you know, like beast mode and all that sort of thing, but I quite appreciate like a long tail off, and this doesn't really have that. It just goes like, I'm here now, and I'm going to be here for the next 15 or 16 hours, and you're going to enjoy it, and that's that. And you sort of have to deal with it, and it does sort of outstay its welcome a little bit. But, I mean, that's hardly a criticism, is it? Because I still sniff it and go like, oh, that's nice.
You're going to enjoy this for a fucking long time.
But yeah, so I've been wearing a lot of that, and that's great. It's been brilliant. I love it.
Madness.
I know.
Absolutely.
L'Homme Idéal Cologne.
No, Parfum, the pinky grey
Oh,
one.
parfum,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It just I think it's like it's got that kind of cherry-ish, kind of marzipan, almondy kind of sort of, and then mixed with a bit of vanilla. I suppose you're going to kind of draw parallels, aren't you? But so I do think they do separate to some degree, but it's remarkably similar. But
it's more leathery. I have tried that, but I can't remember. So the Queer Moresque, I mean.
Queer Moresque, yeah, that's a different thing altogether. That's just a stunky, honky leather. Great.
Honky leather.
Sorry, what is this that we're comparing to?
Roger Enigma Parfum Pour Homme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I get what you mean, yeah.
Just a Guerlain feels thinner,
sorry,
like, if you like. It's a bit more airy and kind of
Spray it right
fresher, I guess, and a little bit thinner. But and I think that gives the illusion that the Roger's kind of same, but a bit more opulent and stuff. But it's it's a cracker, man. It's really good.
I've just sprayed it right now.
Really
It's lovely, isn't it?
You've sprayed Enigma as well, Fliss.
Just literally.
It's literally here.
Literally right now. Every time I wear it, people say to me, "Oh, you smell nice," and I think, "Fuck off!"
Yeah.
Like, no, it's fucking Roger. Like,
I get loads every time I wear it, like because I tend to wear it for like special occasions, or if I'm like going out or something, and loads of people comment on it.
This is like the Les Oderants top 10 compliment fucking
I know,
magnets.
and the thing is, right, the worst is I know exactly what it sounds like, right? But the thing is, the stuff that I usually wear, people never say that smells nice. People say who shit themselves.
Yes.
Or,
Who shit themselves.
like who's bought in like some sort of roadkill. So it's quite an unusual thing for me, and I feel a bit uncomfortable about it. I'm not sure I'm happy. I should, yeah. Fortunately, we'll be talking about Strangelove later, so the compliments ended there. But I've been really enjoying that. So happy days. I've had a great couple of weeks.
Nice,
everything's brilliant.
Nice. I mean, Fliss, we did the Roger episode obviously without you, which was horrible. And I'm wondering because I think you got all the same Rogers. We sent out the same ones. Did you actually go through many of them?
You're putting me on the spot now. Obviously, I wore the Goodnight Kiss like to death.
To death? Gone. Oh, is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
I thought I did quite a big decant of that.
I know. I just wore it every night for a week. It's just so gorgeous. What else did you send? You sent the Enigma, which I really like.
Maybe was it Chypre Extraordinaire, which I
really, really liked. I really well put together. And I just didn't want to like it because it's so expensive. And then I just was just like, I can't help myself. It's really good.
I know. And this is the thing with a lot of the Roger parfums. I think a lot of them smell fucking great. They're not all brilliant, and they're certainly not all for everyone. But a lot of them do smell brilliant, and you can't possibly justify the price tag. I mean, the price tag is obscene on any level. The idea of spending £700-800 on a bottle of perfume is, I mean, to your man in the street, that's fucking nuts, right? But a lot of them do smell really, really,
they're really good. And I have a memory of just going through them all and just going, every single one of them is great. I can nitpick and I can be all like about it, but essentially, they're all fab.
Do you see they've got a new perfumer? They've announced a new perfumer.
What, the perfumer that no one's ever heard of before?
Well, I think James did a bit of due diligence. No, he is actually a qualified perfumer, as in he's done some perfumery qualifications.
Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
I mean, so someone said this on a Facebook post, and I think it's probably Occam's razor. It's the simplest, most likely explanation. The most likely explanation is these people have been knocking out perfumes for Roger for years. He's the marketing impresario, and in order for him to now distance himself from his own brand somewhat, and eventually back out of it altogether, he's basically had to bring a name forward from that list of people who've been working on stuff and say, well, this guy's now the perfumer.
Yeah.
I don't imagine anything has really changed. The person, I can't remember the chap's name. My guess is he's probably been working on Roger perfumes in the background for fucking years, and now they're just sort of throwing the spotlight on him because Roger wants to move out of the spotlight, and fine. I mean, it all sort of makes sense. Retire and spend his millions. I believe the company has already been sold, so my guess is he part of that was like, well, look, you'll hang around and be the brand ambassador, guru, whatever, and you'll, what do they call it, like emeritus head honcho for a period of time, and then you can fuck off and do your own thing.
Do we know who's bought the brand?
I don't.
Because that makes me sad a bit, because I just wonder if... I know I go on about how a lot of the stuff I feel is quite dupish for like early Guerlains or, but he always does it beautifully. I've never said he's done anything other than beautifully. But it does make me wonder where the brand's going to go in the future. Because if it's been bought by a kind of like a money-making house or a money-making company as opposed to a perfume company.
It's always been a money-making machine anyway, though, hasn't it? I mean,
but you know what I mean? There's a difference, isn't there, between people who like really give a shit about the perfume and people who are just hedge fund owners.
Yeah, I take the point. I think, frankly, Roger's been pumping out quite a lot of releases over the last few years anyway. It would be surprising to me if a lot of money behind it would really change things materially in any given direction. The latest release, though, was called Lost in Paris. And that is, it's an out-and-out gourmand, which was somewhat surprising because it's not usually their style.
So now I'm trying to do some research on who's bought Roger. Does not have a parent company according to AI, and it was founded by British perfumer Roger Dove, born Roger Bird in 2004.
He was never born in 2004.
I know, yeah. He's had a tough paper round.
Okay. He's 20 years old. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad you liked some of the Roger stuff. I mean, Fliss, what have you been wearing this week that you would like to talk about, if you don't want to talk about anything else?
So I feel like I've been a bit late to the party. I've been selling loads of stuff off recently. I just feel as if my whole collection's been burgeoning and I've been getting quite stressed out about how big it is. Sold loads of stuff off. But then I didn't feel too bad then about buying a partial of Chanel exclusive number 18, which is, and I bought it completely blind, just off, reviews and stuff like that. And it is gorgeous. It's a beautiful rosy iris musk. And I think it kind of flies under the radar, even of that Les Exclusive line. I don't hear a lot of hype about it.
I've not heard of it. Number 18.
No, number 18. And the rose is very soft and slightly crispy, not at all cloying. The iris is very bright and floral. It's not creamy or rooty in any way. But then there's a huge ambrette note, which gives it a slightly almost sweaty smell, which is kind of you wouldn't necessarily expect for Chanel, but they pull it off in such a classy way. And it just feels very human and like a proper everyday musk, but in a very classy way. And I've been wearing it every day and it feels beautiful in this very cold weather. Kind of crispy, but a little bit not so clean. I'm not a big fan of hugely clean fragrances anyway. It just feels very lived in. And I feel like I can spray it on and feel put together, but I also feel as if it's part of me and my skin. And it sits in the Venn diagram of stuff like My Pearls by Merchant of Venice, or Goutal's Musk Nomad, or even some of the, oh God, who's the guy that does the musk? The Rodriguez Narciso. guys. It feels very much like in that category, with maybe a bit of like, I don't know, if you want for a cheaper alternative, something like SJP's Lovely, and it's great. And I've worn it, so I bought like this partial, and I've worn it every day, and every day I felt really happy, and it's been lovely. Really just an easy reach. I've been like, okay, cool, this is going to be an easy, kind of that kind of top 10 thing. You just go, it's not like a banger, but you're just going to reach for it so often that it's easy. And I loved it.
Nice.
That's my big thing.
So the women's Narciso Rodriguez ones tend to be like a little bit, I don't know them all, but they tend to be a bit more like powdery and sort of fluffy, whereas like
they're
the men's
powdery
ones,
and fluffy and floral and skin-like. They're always pushing that kind of sexy cashmere feel.
Are you talking more about those ones or like the men's
No, I'm
ones?
talking about the feminine ones.
Yeah.
I don't know the men's ones very well at all.
I think you'd really like the men's ones,
You think?
Yeah, because they're really proper musks. Like they're quite
hardcore,
metallic, but in a good way. And
I get really confused with that whole line though, because there's so many of them. And all the bottles are slightly different, and some of them are all the same, and the bottles just have like one word different on the bottle. And if you're trying to buy them on eBay,
it's difficult.
It's impossible to work out what the fuck you're buying.
I think
get really
with the
confused.
men's ones, it's quite easy because I think there's 3 main ones, and then there's one called like Noir or Bleu or something like that. Forget that one. Just discard that one because it's totally different to all the others.
Shit.
But if you get the other 3, so either the Musk Intense or the normal Musk or just the Narciso Harm or whatever it is, they are all dead musky. And it's a shame because I didn't really like them at the time. I did like them. I was like, oh, okay, this is like a kind of almost to that point of like Kiehl's Musk, like a kind of...
Oh, God, and they were huge. For there was this period of time where you just couldn't move without adverts for them, without everyone wearing them, with the hype was so big. Yeah. And it's the same with the women's release. They release so many now, and I find it quite hard to sort of navigate my way around the flankers.
I know what you mean. They're very
beautiful in terms of they've got a huge fan base. The Poudre, the one that comes in the little green cube, is lovely, and a lot of people wear that as like a signature easy day office scent. And it's really nice. It's not.
I love the way they paint inside the bottles as well. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're a good line. Like I say, it's a shame I didn't really bother with them when they were out. And I also thought, oh, this is kind of, harking back to kind of really tough, old kind of style perfumes. But that would be really welcomed if they did that now. But yeah, nobody is. I think they're quite expensive now. The discontinued ones, anyway.
Yeah,
because you can't really get.
I think musks are hard anyway. I feel like you only need a couple of them in your arsenal. It's really easy to feel as if they're getting a bit samey. So what you've got your Kiehl's musk, or you've got a couple of others.
I know what you mean.
I don't know. I'm not. Maybe I just am not musked up enough in the same way as I love all my different sheepras. But I feel as if I don't. There's only so many musks I need in my collection without being like it's all a bit the same.
I said the same about rose ouds. You only need a couple of rose ouds, and I reckon I've got about 40 of the fuckers now. Absolute stupidity.
I mean, you could say that about perfume in general, really. Like, you only need a couple of perfumes.
Out.
Well, I mean, arguably, you could say you don't need perfume, but I mean, you'd probably be at the wrong podcast for that one. But I think it is not unreasonable if you've got a preferred sort of genre like Fliss and her florals. That you might sort of go, well, this isn't my favourite genre, but I'll have a couple so that on the odd occasion I've got a couple to choose from. To be perfectly honest with you, I mean I'm sort of like that with rose ouds. It's really not my preferred genre, and still And still, miraculously, I seem to have fucking loads of the bastards. I don't know what on earth I'm doing, but it's not good. Whatever it is I'm doing, it's not good. Cool. Anything else exciting from your world of perfumery, Fliss?
Nothing. I've been having obviously I've been away on sabbatical because I've got a lot of life. And so I've been wearing a lot of really comforting things that I've talked about before. So
yes.
Anybody who, wants to go and check out my Instagram, you will see the same boring shit that I love. Like Belém by Les Abstraits, which is like my comforting, most comfortable thing ever in the world. Marbet, which is like, again, it's like a super comfort thing. Bel Canto, that kind of stuff. So
nice.
I'm deep into comfort frags at the moment, and there's no point chatting about
and
them.
why not? And why not, indeed? Well, I too have had something of a random comfort thing. So last night, today, in fact, I dug out my bottle of Sybaris, Puig Sybaris. Is that one you know, James? It sort of strikes me as something you'd probably.
No.
Okay, so this is arguably, I think it's probably the first perfume I ever had. It's one that my uncle bought for me when I was like 13, and it's sort of like I guess a slightly lesser known cousin to the Balenciaga Pour Homme. It's sort of somewhere between Quorum and Balenciaga Pour Homme, but it's actually a very nice sandalwood. People say it's got a sort of sweaty, sort of BOE cumin to it, but I've never really felt like that. I've always just felt it was very clean sandalwood, very vintage, elegant, sort of. You could, I sort of. I don't know. I sort of see it as like something maybe Gordon Gekko would have worn. It's very nice. Anyway, so I wore that today, which was very comforting. And last night I dug out my Oud and Vanille by Cartier. I think that's a fucking stupendous perfume. It's not one you could wear every day. You'd get quite tired of it, I think. But that range, generally, that Cartier range, I think are very, very good indeed.
What was the really pissy one that was in that?
Yeah,
range?
that's the one I would.
Oud and Musk,
yeah, that's the one I would advise against.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest. That's the only one that puts a foot wrong.
It's
I think
a
everything else
misstep.
in that range is just, it really is a misstep. It really is. Everything else is so classy, but that is
really
not.
bad. Yeah, I that was like that was a whole new level to pissiness in perfume.
I've not tried any of them,
Really? I think you'd find quite a lot to like about them.
I've heard they're very good, yeah.
Yeah, I think they really are. I mean,
I like Cartier as a brand anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
the Oud Santal, I think it's like in my top 10. I think I could just wear that easy.
So I think the Oud Santal, Oud and the Oud Vanille, and there's one other which is maybe like just Oud or something. They're all a little bit samey. They're all like subtle variations on a theme. So at one point I did have 2 or 3 of them, but I did feel like they were a little bit redundant. The Oud and Vanille for me is my favourite. And I'm not even like a huge vanilla fan generally, but this does vanilla in a it's sort of really
it's
robust.
very dry.
Yeah.
It's a very drying,
but it's got a sort of robust sort of it's not sweet and sort of naggy and itchy kind of perfume. It's sort of like I don't know. I'm immediately putting my sort of shoulders back and sort of like walking around, bowling around the place, going all confident, because it's sort of that. It's like a very grown up, full bodied sort of vanilla to me, but I really enjoyed it. What else? So this was a little treat. So I got given this by a friend, and this is a 30ml bottle, a tiny little bee bottle, but it's the Guerlain Iris Pallida. Is that how you pronounce it? Extrait, and it's fucking good. But it's very, very feminine, but like in a really good way. It's quite an unusual one for me to like. It's got the sort of soapy powderiness of a Prada sort of fragrance. It's got the irisy, very sort of powdery, lipsticky sort of iris thing going on. And honestly, I think it probably smells far better on a woman than on me. And yet, I think it smells absolutely magnificent. Really, really good. And it goes on forever. It's unbelievably strong. So, yeah, total winner, the Guerlain Iris Pallida Extrait 6, I believe. I don't know why 6. And the other things randomly I've been wearing with these two TK Maxx pickups. So I think this is a German brand called Wilgermain. Wilgerman? I don't know how you pronounce it. But they're kind of cute. But they were in TK Maxx and they're like, the retail price of this is £180. Our price, £19. Like, well, fucking have some of that. And this one in particular, called Bois Barbare, I don't even know what's going on with it, but it's like it's got a saffron, quite a sweet saffron and woody thing going on. It's really nice. I mean, I don't think it's £170 nice. If I'd spent 170 quid, I might have been a bit disappointed. But for fucking 20 quid, it is really good, like really fucking good. And it's, I don't know, that is arguably my champion buy of the year for fucking 20 quid. Honestly, it's bananas. It's really, really enjoyable. I haven't tried many of them, and only the two that are here. One's called Passion Victim, which I haven't quite got to.
That's an awful name.
Passion Victim.
Yeah, I mean, there is something Germanic about that, isn't there? It is, I do think it is a German brand, I think, and they are very nicely styled. Kind of, I don't know why they would be in TK Maxx, because I did a quick search.
Because they didn't sell.
Yeah, well, you'd think so, but I did a quick search on them, and they're still in like high-end department stores for the full prices. So I don't know how.
It's just one
TK
shop
Maxx ended
that
up
had
with
to
a
get
bunch
rid of
them,
everything.
But, great,
Well, they won't be for
great
long.
result. Yeah, no, I think perfectly reasonable. I mean, I think so. I think a lot of people would not blind buy a perfume, even if it said £170 reduced to £19, right? A lot of people would still go, well, I'm not fucking buying a perfume I haven't smelt. That's stupid. That's 19 quid wasted on something that I haven't smelt. Whereas I think...
No, that's £19 for the taking. That's your entire life. The possibility of it being the one just there,
Exactly,
ready in your hand.
exactly.
Just for £19, your whole life could be made whole again. Please take my money.
Buy it, you fucker. Yeah. I mean, that is basically... See, that's how our brains work, isn't
Just
it?
in case, just in case,
I
just
agree.
in case.
I know. Just can't help it, can you? I'd see that and go, 180 quid, it must have been good. It must have been good
okay
to someone. Yeah.
But this is the thing. It is actually a really decent perfume. I mean, it's... I mean, it's easily... I'd happily... If I paid 70 quid for this, I would have gone, yeah, that's fucking pretty decent. To pay 19 quid for it, I'd be like, yay, that's awesome. Not that really it's ever likely to get used because, of course, there's like 4 billion...
400 others.
Boss, yeah. It's funny, I met a guy... the other day who I talked to on Facebook quite a bit, and we had to meet up for something perfume related. But basically, he said, so go on, Dan, really, how many bottles do you have? And I was like, I don't know. He goes, yeah, but I know you buy and sell a lot, but like, how many do you really have? I bet it's thousands, isn't it? Like, no, it fucking is not thousands, mate.
I'd say that's over familiar, mate. It's none of your business. I've only just met you over the internet. Like, I don't like this already.
Now come in the toilet and let's get this over.
Yeah, exactly. I'm regretting this already, but come on, let's get it done.
Yeah.
Less of the talking, yeah?
I can say that on file.
Have you seen the Peter Serafinovich and Jimmy Carr scene off Countdown? And Jimmy Carr says to Peter Serafinovich, Peter, do you like board games? He goes, well, Jimmy, I don't think that's any of your business.
yes, he does.
Yeah. How many bottles do you have? Well, none of your fucking business. Anyway, the answer to how many bottles of perfume do I have is somewhere north of 300 and somewhere less than 700, and I don't like to count them because it gives me fucking indigestion. So there you go.
You say that though, but I'm surprised though because you were starting that spreadsheet.
I was starting that spreadsheet.
You can hear the disappointment in her voice that you haven't continued with the spreadsheet.
No,
He did a lovely spreadsheet. He put it on the group and everything. I gave him 5 out of 10 for starting.
Yeah, fuck off. I only did the spreadsheet to work out my top purchases of the year. So I made a whole list of what the best perfumes of the year are. Would you like to hear some of them? Call out a number between 1 and 25 and I'll tell you what's there.
17.
17, good number. Prada Cargo de Nuit is at number 17. And by the way, what I did here was pairwise kind of indexing. So I James is eyeing me very suspiciously.
Okay.
So what I did was I sort of vomited into a spreadsheet the list of things that I thought were probably there, and then I would just keep comparing ones next to each other and trying to decide which I would pick above, which is above, which is below. Just intuitively. And I know that ranking these is largely pointless. But the reason I did it, by the way, is because I wanted to do a series of photos for Instagram and and finish on Christmas Day with my favourite perfume of the year, which, is profoundly stupid, but there you go.
You motherfuckers and your data crunching. Jesus Christ.
I feel very proud of you right now, Dan. I feel so proud.
I'm trapped. I'm trapped.
I don't think.
Trapped between Fliss's pride and James's utter contempt.
I did start a spreadsheet once, and I had about 90 bottles at the time. And so it's a few years back, and about 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. And I think when I approached 100 bottles, and I thought, I'm going to stop doing this now because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You stopped because you didn't want a bigger spreadsheet.
I didn't want the data. I turned my back on the data.
I keep going because I want the biggest spreadsheet.
I don't want all the spreadsheet, and I don't want the hassle.
I bet you do.
I want all the columns, all the big fat columns.
No, that is entirely wrong and wholly inappropriate.
Wow.
For this family show.
Fliss, you are no longer welcome.
You've been back for half an episode and there's already fucking loads of wank bank stuff for the regulars. You said loads of fucking.
It's because she's missed 3 episodes. She's just been just all these double entendres just wrestling to get out of her fucking head. Yeah, anyway, I can't be arsed with the spreadsheet because the spreadsheet is basically just a fucking millstone, right? You the amount of effort you had to put into updating it and all that shit, I can't be fucking arsed. All I wanted to do was write down in a format that was helpful what my top 25 were. So pick another number, and you can't have
9.
number 1.
9.
Number 9, Matière Première Saffron Extrait. Really good. Really fucking good.
22.
22. Graf Lazedi Larona number 6.
What the
parfum.
fuck is that?
For you to say.
Yeah, so Graf, I think, make maybe jewellery, women's jewellery maybe.
Yep,
and they've got a range of perfumes, and there's this one which I got on like some dodgy website. It's like a Harrods exclusive, but obviously not sold via Harrods. And it's called, the whole range are called Lazedi Larona, which I think is some sort of reference to some sort of jewellery, and then they just have a number. So, and this was number 6, and they do a Harrods Parfum one, and it's like a very strong rose oud, but with a really thick vanilla to it as well. And I really enjoyed that one this year, actually. Really solid, a very handsome looking thing. We can do 2 more. Because I don't want to give the whole lot.
I wanted to look up that Graf one.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know that you would like it so much, Fliss, but I feel like James probably would. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, really enjoyed that. Do 2 more random ones.
Number 11.
Number 11 is Chypre Palatin. Actually, so I'd never bought. No, I don't think I had bought Chypre Palatin before. So Chypre Palatin in at number 11. It arguably could have gone higher in the list than that, but
yes, it could. I think it could have been. You could have done a little bit better than that.
Yeah. Okay.
If you'd spent more time on your spreadsheet, you'd come to your senses. It would
yeah. Right. Pick one more number.
3.
Oh, number 3 is the Fornasetti Imagination. Which is that octagonal bottle I went on and on about having tried it at...
They're like a furniture thing or something, aren't they?
That's right, yeah. Italian design stuff. All very, very cool. So anyway, I've been having fun putting that list together, and I did limit myself to only 1 entry per house, brand, whatever. So like there can only be 1 Amouage in that list of 25, even though arguably I would put at least 2 in there. So it's a utterly pointless list, but that was my spreadsheet, and I feel like stuck between the disapproving glare of James and the enthusiastic, supportive admiration of Fliss. I'm in a spreadsheet no man's land. All bitterly disappointing, I must say. Anyway, right, that is a whole bunch of perfumery action. Shall we wrap up part 1 early to get a drink, reboot my router, and then we've got a pretty meaty part 2 to get into, I think. So if that works, I'm going to say fucking cheers and play some Jingle Bells outro or something, Ben. Have we got any Jingle Bells outro?
I can see what I can muster up.
Yeah. Yeah, should probably like do it with that really stern face.
My band we used to be an improv band, right? And we were playing a gig and we recorded it and it was fucking magic because somehow we just slipped into playing Silent Night. But it's this like drone psychedelic rock version of Silent Night, and it's fucking epic. It sounds awful.
Maybe we could use that.
I will try and dig it out, but I can't promise anything. I haven't heard it for many a year.
Well, I would love to hear that. I would definitely love to hear it as the outro to part 1 of Les Oderants. We will be back in just a couple of minutes with part 2 of Les Oderants. Stick with us. Bye. Right. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Les Oderants, our Christmas special. Before we get into some of the festive bullshit, not that I have too much festive bullshit planned, but before we get into that, I want to talk about 4 perfumes. 4 new perfumes. One is a new release from the House of Strangelove. I don't know why I went French. I mean, they're American, right? So Strangelove, New York. And 3 are from the venerable Omani house of Amouage. And I feel like it might be sensible to start with the Strangelove. Strangelove have released a new perfume called A Fire Within.
No, I'm not.
And it is
this guy's name.
A new release. It's a new perfumer. So all their previous stuff has been with what's his face?
Christophe Lademiel.
Thank you very much. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. So for this one, they've used a new perfumer, a guy called Hamid Mirati Kashani, who famously did Leighton, which is one of the least desirable gifts to perfumery ever.
Let that one go.
Will we? Okay, we'll let that one go. So, A Fire Within. Fliss. Fliss. What did you make of A Fire Within? That good.
I have A Fire Within. I think it's a fucking hot mess in a bottle. I pretty much hated it. There's a really weird tang to the start. It smells like burning crayons and slightly Christmassy candles. It's so smoky. It's almost it's almost Beaufort-like.
Look at his little face. I can see it in the corner there.
Doesn't give up. And it reminds me very much of like a Trudon, Kier Trudon room fragrance. They do these really weird, kind of cool room fragrances that are very kind of like, you know, like they're telling a story or whatever of like the revolution or whatever. And it felt like that. It felt like they was trying to tell me a story, which was kind of cool, but at the same time, I wouldn't ever want to wear it on my skin. It was so unbelievably unwearable. I kind of liked it for about 10 minutes of going, this is interesting, the smokiness is cool. It's so thick and dense, but it's not a perfume. And it, like all good scrubbers, refused to scrub off. And I was left for the next day just attached to this crayony, waxy, unctuous, overly smoky piece of shit. I almost can't.
So you're on the
believe
fence.
That they've
then.
released
you're
it.
on the fence.
Yeah.
I think I may have even said in the last episode that I thought it was a little Beauforty actually, because of the level of because of the smoke. And Ben, would you go for that? Is it Beauforty to you?
100%, and it smells like 2 Beauforts had a baby. And I tell you, Viet Armis, it smells like there's the tanginess comes from. So in Viet Armis Beaufort, they've got this like opium accord, they call it. But basically, it's like a geranium, ambery, smoky kind of accord, like incensey kind of accord, and that is in this. And I'm not saying it's the same accord or anything like that, but there's elements. They must use certain chemicals, aroma chemicals that are similar because it smells. It's a very unique smell, and it's in this. And also Coeur de Noir, which is a very dry, smoky, woody leather, and like vanilla and leather that Beaufort put out, and it smells a bit like that as well. But am I going now? Are we on?
Yeah, you're going.
I fucking love it. I love it so much. It's so good. Like those 2 Beauforts, I love. You know, you guys know how much I love Beaufort, and I thought this is like a Beaufort if Beaufort was like rich and like the Queen or something. It's like super opulent Beaufort, and I fucking loved it. And it had that like overtly birch tar that smells of meat, and you know, like
it's so meaty. It's
it.
like a barbecue.
Yes.
And I do like it, but like when I said it's like a Trudon room fragrance, I think I would happily have it in a room as a candle for like an hour or two, but to wear on my skin for any length of time,
it's gorgeous because over time it's
just relentless.
It is, but it calms
it's like being
down.
beaten over your head with like a lamb shank.
Yeah, for like an hour or so, it is like that, and I love that. But then it like chills, and it turns into this like sort of fluffy vanilla that's very dark and smoky, and I just fucking loved it, man. And it just got better and better and better. And I love everything about it, except from the fact that it's £760, which is ridiculous. But apart from that, £760, because I was like...
Well, that is for 100 ml.
Oh, yeah, that's dead reasonable. Fucking hell, dude.
But yeah, I think there was, so I'm over, I'm going sort of a bit over the top because as a sort of reactionary to sort of Fliss's hatred of it. And I do think there is some criticisms of it. I think it's, in comparison to the old Strangeloves, I think it's sort of quite simple in a way compared to the old ones.
It doesn't sit with them at all. I don't think it sits with them as a line.
I disagree. I disagree completely with Fliss. I think it does sit with them.
I think it's exactly them doing precisely what they want. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly what I expected from this. Punk rock as fuck. It's like, last week we were talking about everyone's doing Gormans, and they've come out and gone, yeah, all right, we'll do a vanilla. Yeah. Have some of that, you fuckers. And it's like so unlike anything else. Like, can you?
We'll have a vanilla. Not like that, you can't.
No, exactly. Do you think you'd smell anything like this in Harrods apart from this? I don't think so. And that is what's brilliant about it. I fucking love it for it. It's going like, do you know what? We're just doing what we want to do. And that's precisely what they used to do. The other three were exactly like that. I just think it's great.
So I was 100% confident, Ben, that you would enjoy this fragrance, right? And I'm just grinning ear to ear because I'm so pleased with how fucking well I nailed that. But I agree. Actually, I think it does sit with the rest of the range. It is entirely unapologetic. It's not an easy to like perfume. It's not a fucking, communal garden gourmand. They are not fucking like playing to the gallery here. They are going with, here's a fucking headbanger perfume. Do I like it? Not sure I do. Truth be told, not sure I do, and to me it smells like ice cream being poured onto like a glowing red hot log in a fire, and it feels like two distinct things. It feels like ice cream and it feels like fire, and over time, you're right, it does mellow, it does soften. Those things become one much more coherent and pleasant thing. But at first, it just smells like, here's some fire, here's some ice cream. Fucking have some of that, you cunt. And I'm not sure I could wear it. It's just a bit too much up top. James,
I've been wearing it straight for the last 2 days. Look at that! I've got that tiny little wiener bit there.
Wow!
Well, they only sent me like fucking 3 mil or something, 4 mil. So I had to split it.
Tight, but 70.
Well, I mean, 760 quid. But yeah, they sent me 2 little 2 ml vials, I think. So I had to split them up and send them to you. But James, what did you think of it?
I was ready to say that after what you described the other week, and I'm fed up of vanillas, and I just wanted to say that they've moved away from really creative, cool friend of the podcast, Christophe Laudemiel, but they've actually, it's really in keeping with the line, and I don't agree with Fliss. I think they've done a really good job of sticking with it. And do you know why that is? Nobody's mentioned there's a prominent real oud note in this perfume, right? And that's what all the other ones smell like, real oud. That seemed to be their little gimmick, their theme. And I thought if they've moved away from that, because this, don't get me wrong, this is quite a aroma chemically vanilla tinged kind of meh sort of perfume, but it's got the real oud in there, and you can smell it for at least the first like few hours maybe, and then it does die down and it goes to this kind of like cedar sort of woody thing. But like top notes, it's got like weird, it reminds me of, like, I always say, like, it's kind of tomatoey, but it's that sweet carrot sort of like note in there, which gives it this weird kind of vegetal sort of opening and like sharpness. What I don't like is all the kind of jarring things. So you've got like this kind of almost like a grapefruity kind of like sharpness, this like tomatoey carrot thing, and then vanilla, like instantly vanilla, and you're like, is that working? And then the oud, and you can smell the.
It smells almost medicinal in a way.
Yeah, I get that. Get that, and it's the smokiness of it as well. That kind of meat is reminiscent of like Gaiac wood, or that kind of tarry sort of like thing as well. But I actually think the smoke is really nicely kind of weaved into it. So it's just loads of things that I don't really want. But I think they do come together reasonably cohesively, and it is creative. And I was actually really surprised how much like something like Lord of Miel would do or whatever for that brand. And I think they've kind of ticked the box of, they've got a kind of gourmandy vanilla one, because they haven't in the rest of the line is kind of weird earthy ones. And
well, melt my heart is quite gourmandy.
True. Yeah. But My Heart is very much more like a natural perfume, I would say, in that it doesn't really have this kind of driven, like, aromachenically modern thing to it. I think it smells very much like quite, like, I love that one, don't get me wrong, but it does just smell like loads of very high sort of very, very nice high iron content kind of iris, and not really a great deal else. I suppose it's kind of buttery and whatever, but it's that like heavy, like super Oris kind of vibe, and also it's kind of going a bit cloudy and kind of like things are sort of falling out of solution in mine, which I kind of am like, oh, that's a bit weird, but you certainly wouldn't get that from this kind of aromachenically business. So yeah, completely different, in terms of that. So I liked it. I wouldn't like to wear it again. It's very jarring to begin with. I didn't really enjoy wearing it, to be honest, but as a perfume and as it's taking a step back and looking at it as a new Strangelove perfume for that brand, I actually think they've played a bit of a blinder there, and it's pretty good for them. I'd never pay that much for any perfume, it's outrageous, and I know that's their kind of market or whatever, but at least they've got the real oud in there for people who might want to feel, oh, I'm justifying buying it, because it's definitely got real oud in it, 100%.
Well, I mean,
sorry, go on, Dan.
I feel like I'll probably do like what I did with the others, which is eventually find a sort of a sensibly priced bottle on eBay. I feel like this will not be a desperately popular release, and I also feel like they won't give a fuck. They will not care. Don't like our perfume? So what? Fuck off. We don't care. It's not for you then, is it, you cunt? I love the sheer unapologetic nature of this perfume. It is mad, you sort of get to a particular price point and they're making perfume that they don't give a shit whether you like it or not.
You kind of respect that. Just you've got to respect it, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking rock and roll as fuck. The other thing, I just as you were talking, James, Ben was just sort of sniffing the atomizer, and honestly, I don't think I've ever seen him so sort of utterly entranced with the perfume. He looked like he was off somewhere else. Yeah.
If you like Beaufort's, it's exact. It'd be so up your street. And Beaufort's one of my favourite houses, and I love him all for the and I just love anything that's like that smoky and just brutal, and it's just brilliant, man. It's so nice. I love it. It is funny though. When I sprayed it, my partner was sitting next to me and her eyes watered and she nearly retched, and she said, "You're not wearing that around me." And I said, go home, man.
off you go then, love. Bye. Yeah. Yeah, it's occasionally we get that. It was that Dior Espagne Esprit one the other day that I sprayed, and normally my wife doesn't comment on anything, but she said, "I do not like that perfume you're wearing. It's fucking revolting." Fair enough. Well, I think polarizing. Love the fact that Ben loves it. I think I could grow to love that one, actually. I'm just smelling it again. It smells easier. It smells easier the second or third time, and I think that's probably because I was expecting something. I mean, I'll be honest, I was probably expecting a redo of Leighton, right? I don't know why. That's a stupid, lazy thing to assume. But, you see Vanilla, Gourmand, Fire Within, the guy who did Leighton and half of the Parfum de Marly catalogue, you think, well, this is going to be a departure from their no fucks given approach. This is going to be something much more mass appealing. And is it fucking balls mass appealing? I think I had a bit of a shock the first time I tried it. But
I think the thing is as well, you do see that with houses where they'll release the first sort of collection, and it will be interesting, and then the second collection they'll go a bit more commercial or a bit more kind of middle ground. Whereas this clearly isn't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that I think was good. The thing that I love about Strangelove as a brand is that everything they've produced, we've been able to have a really good fucking discussion about. Love it or hate it. The fact that they do this stuff in this way, it's just great. We could keep talking about them for fucking ages. So
but also I think that they genuinely appreciate the fact that we have that conversation as well. It's not like they get offended if someone hates something. They're like, brilliant. That's the whole point. They love. Yeah. That's the whole.
It's built into their brand. It's built into their
totally
brand.
In it.
This whole assumption that someone's going to fucking hate this. In fact, lots of people will. And I think there are plenty of people who will go along to the 6th floor at Harrods and think, "Ooh, I wonder what a £700 perfume smells like. Yeah, Trevor, I want to try this perfume. It's £700. I bet it smells gorgeous." And then they spray it, and you fucking
come on, you had us going there. I want to know what Trevor and his wife. I want to know a bit of. I want flesh. Put some flesh on the bones. We want to.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Yeah.
It's like a fucking Radio 4 fucking drama or something.
Go on, sorry, Ben.
So the thing is, I think if you're going to have a £700 perfume, then it should smell like this. A £700 perfume should set itself apart from the rest and say, like, it's like, anything expensive is I don't know. It feels like that's what it should be doing. It should be pressing buttons. It should be pushing boundaries. It should be interesting enough to, warrant the price tag. It shouldn't just be a bit more of an expensive version of Dior Homme. Or
yeah. For that sort of money, you do not expect just Sauvage, but better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If I can get Sauvage for £80, and this is £800. Think how fucking good this will be. Like,
Yeah.
No, what the fuck? Get it off me. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I think it's. I don't think for me it's going to trouble Dead of Night or Falling Stars, which Falling Stars in particular. I absolutely just fucking love that. It's not going to trouble that as my favourites of the brand, but despite my initial sort of like perhaps baffled reaction to it, I certainly like the far end of the dry down where it's much nicer and easier to sort of work with. That opening is just
imagine layering it with Silence the Sea.
Ooh, fucking hell.
Oh, fuck
do you know what? That's the sort of stupid shit people do for charity, right? What's the fucking stupidest thing you can think of? Well, well, how about I lay these two perfumes? Yeah. No, my advice is don't. Just don't do it. Yeah, it'd be like I don't know. I'm display my lack of knowledge of drugs, but you know, when you take an upper and a downer at the same sort of time, what's that one when you do crack cocaine and like fucking heroin at the same time? There must be a name for that.
Hospital,
anyway.
I think.
Yeah, hospital.
Hospital.
Yeah, nice. Yes. Good. Okay. Well, look. Strangelove. What's it called? A Fire Within. Strangelove, A Fire Within. So that's fun. Okay, let's talk about the 3 new Amouage. So these are the first releases in these new snazzy bottles. First of all, what do people think about these new bottles? I think they're fucking gorgeous, but I've seen some people be a bit critical of them. So
I've not held one.
You
in
don't
my
like
hand.
them?
I've not seen them. They're probably really nice, but they just look a bit bland. Renault Salmon's whole like color palette appears to be like, let's make them all like fucking sugared almonds or something. And you know, I'm just like, it's all like smooth, like pebbly kind of shit. I did joke to him once that are you just making them all different colours of salmon, which I don't know if he found that funny or not. He sort of put like an eye rolly face in the comments. I was like, fuck you, all right, okay, it's a pun on your name, okay.
Don't roll your eyes at me.
So no, I think he's we were talking about this the other day, the Duck and I, about how are they sort of prepping some of these brands for sale? Do you know what I mean? Are they kind of going down the route of a Creed where they get too big and they lose some of the passion, or it just becomes about a commercial kind of venture and making everything a bit more homogenized and a bit more fucking beige? And that seems to be how Amouage are, because as much as you might not have liked, or they were hit and miss, some of the stuff under Christopher Chong, it was far more vibrant. Yeah, I'm not even talking about the actual smell of the perfumes. I just mean the marketing, the branding, the colours of the bottles, the kind of the whole words. They just seemed more vibrant and more like cool. And since that other guy's been in there, although I've liked some of the perfumes smell wise, I've got to say the direction of it all is very much they've lost their mojo a bit for me, personally.
Okay, I mean that's I don't know how fair or I mean, it's obviously it's completely fair for you to have your own view. I think they are certainly different creatively under Renault Salmon than they were under Christopher Chong. I think there are a lot the previous perfumes I thought were quite. A lot of them were very tough wares, and they had that sort of uncompromising thing. And I feel like, Renault's approach is a little bit more consumer sort of savvy rather than, necessarily playing to the sort of perfume extremists, if you like. But I know what you mean.
just to back up James's point, look at those two bottles, like Myths and Figment. They're really vibrant and
so pretty.
Yeah.
So
Not
jewel-like, aren't they? They're so beautiful.
But also like just the little kind of things behind the perfumes, like the bits of graphic and maybe some of the ingredients, materials, whatever, some of the like fruits and flowers, and it was just so much more like cool. The boxes and everything. Whereas now, I think they've gone. It's a little bit like the rebrand of fucking Jaguar or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like people have made a big thing about that recently. I don't really care about the kind of androgynous kind of adverts or whatever. You can go into all that shit. But the facts are that they had a cool logo, and they'll say, "Well, it wasn't working, so we're trying something different." But to get rid of the actual cat from the Jaguar logo and get this kind of homogenized, like just crappy, roundy sort of writing, is like for me a bit of a misstep move. I don't know. Time will tell, won't it? I suppose it depends on the car, but just the look of the brand, I'm like, yeah, you've got to freshen things up sometimes, but I don't know what they've done there.
Jaguar is a funny example because for Jaguar there's no real downside, because the reality is most people who buy Jaguars are going to be dead in the next 10 years because it's an old person's car and their sales have been fucking plummeting. Yes. So for them it was a sort of no downside. It might not work.
No, I completely understand that, and they've got to take a punt, but it makes them more. I suppose it's that thing of it's same, I'm trying to sort of bring it back to perfume, but it's that thing of moaning about, like I was saying this the other day, Chanel haven't released anything for men since like Bleu de Chanel, like on the regular, thing. Have they really? I mean, they've just been doing that kind of arms race with Dior over who can do a parfum or an elixir or a fucking... But they haven't actually brought anything new to the table. They're just, they've got their same original line of perfumes. And you're like, well, when does it become the point to discontinue some of those things and freshen things up? So it's that thing of wanting to have your cake and eating it, or not, contradicting myself, which I do frequently, but being like, we all want something new, but also don't get rid of the classic stuff. But at the end of the day, they're running a business and they have to make a decision on what's right for them. So I completely understand. Again, coming back to Jaguar, I totally understand why they've done it, but I don't. It's just a shame, isn't it, when you see things, like you think of, I mean...
I'm a bit confused about what's going on with the bottles, because the first thing they did... So Amouage have always had, basically, a men's bottle, a woman's bottle, and then they had those library collection bottles, which were a different shape. And recently... they put the library bottles, they made those part of the standard shape range. So I thought...
they made them the same colour as these ones.
Yeah, so they've done that sort of... It's a kind of clayey, pewtery... I don't know, not pewter, that's probably not the right word, is it? But porcelain. It's like a sort of porcelain-y type thing. But actually, I mean, to hold these, I think they are fucking exquisite. I think they really are unbelievably nice. And the attention to detail is mental. I don't know if you can see on the bottom of that cap, on the bottom of the bottle, but it's all basically, the whole thing's engraved, and it's almost like a sort of, it's almost like a 3D, what do you call it, like hologram kind of thing, but just engraved into the metal. And then, like, the cap, you probably, again, can't see, but the cap has got, like, the Amouage sun embedded into it. They are incredibly tactile, and it's odd. Like, my wife very rarely comments on anything perfume wise, and I've got a lot of kind of funky, weird looking bottles and some very sort of utilitarian ones, and she's never commented on any bottle at all. And then today she saw this Outlands bottle and she said, "Oh, that's a nice looking bottle. What's that?" And so I sprayed it, and she recoiled, and no, I don't like that. But that's how perfume works now. So
I like them. I think they look cool.
I think they look cool.
I really like the newer library collections like Royal Tobacco and stuff when they put them in these bottles but made them like that colour.
Yeah.
I thought they look great as well. I love that kind of matte, like you say, like porcelain. A bit like that, what was that clay perfume that you could buy it in London?
The Avastan type of feel.
Yeah.
That sort of vibe.
That makes me really think of that Avastan bottle, that kind of almost Bauhausy kind of. And who else is doing? There's one of the Saint Celier stock. They do like they make each bottle like by hand, and it's all artisanally made with clay. I want to say Rubini. It may or may not be Rubini, and it just feels really artistically artisanal. Whereas the other beautiful bottles were they're almost like jelly sweets. They're all like jelly sweets in a sweetie shop. This feels very much more artistic and of art, and it feels more serious about what's inside, irrespective of whether it is or it isn't.
I think serious is a great word.
And yet some of that joy is gone, but it feels very much more like hefty. There's a weight and a sort of intellectual weight to looking at that bottle and holding that bottle.
I think serious is a great word, actually, because I these neutral sort of tones, very tactile. They're almost quiet by design, kind of thing. They're quiet, serious, meditative. But honestly, I highly recommend, just for the design experience, to just go and like hold one of these things in a shop. I think the attention to detail on them is absolutely exquisite.
That's all I can afford to do at the moment.
And I think
let's just go and hold them.
I was going to say I'm going to go and hold a bottle and then weep for the thousands of pounds that I'm never going to be able to afford to spend on it.
So look, okay, so look, full disclosure, they sent me one bottle and two travel sprays.
Raving about it. Do you be the judge?
Funnily enough, my favourite one, you be the judge. My favourite one was one of the travel sprays, and I went out and bought a bottle, full fucking retail.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much I liked it. I didn't even fucking try beg a bottle off them. I just thanks for the travel spray, I'm going to go buy a bottle of this. It's fucking... So for me, there is a clear winner, and it wasn't the bottle they sent me. We'll get into that, because I don't hate any of them. I don't know.
If it's Lustra, don't sell it on fucking Facebook. Sell it to me.
No.
Well, no, sell it to me.
Okay.
No. Oh my God. Right. Well, let's start with Lustra.
Spray this for the very first time now.
So, okay. So
oh God, it's phenomenal.
Is it?
Does Dan hate that one?
Is it? That's interesting. So,
I would happily wear this
Lustra
every day.
was my least favourite of the three, and was one that I got a travel atomizer of, which I split with you guys. That's how you've ended up getting samples of that. So that did not come from a bottle.
So good. Go on, Ben.
So interestingly, when I first sprayed this, right, I was like, it was the third one I sprayed. So it was like, I'd already sprayed the first two and I'd worn them both for a day. And then I sprayed
Are you on mute, James?
Sorry,
or are you just miles away from your mic?
Instantly. That's the best one by a country fucking mile.
Really?
It is.
So this is really interesting,
it.
right? Because when I first sprayed it, I was like, this feels boring. Like, what is this? This feels like half a perfume. And then about 5 minutes later, I was like, fuck me, this is really good. This is really fucking good. And I loved it, man. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah. It's very stark at first, I thought. It's very like woody and stark. And the first two, I felt like when I sprayed them, I was like, this is an Amouage. Like, you get that kind of incense, that rich, incensey, smoky side of it. And I was like, yeah, this feels like an Amouage. When I sprayed this one, I was like, this feels like half an Amouage. But the other half kind of crept in like 5 minutes later.
I'm just going to get this out of the way and let you lot rave about it. So for me, this was my least favourite of the three. and all I could smell for the first 20 minutes or so was raisins. It just, I don't know why, but it smells of raisins. I wouldn't know what a raisin note smelled like, but it's got a dried, slightly sugared raisin. I've not got a better, I've not got a better word for it. But that's all I can smell. Almost like rum and raisin ice cream kind of thing.
Totally. And when you say that rum and raisin ice cream or raisins, it reminds me of like a bread and egg pudding made with fruit bread. Very eggy, puddingy, that kind of sweet. But it's not cloying. It's incredibly creamy.
I think it's
that raisiny spiciness.
Yeah, it's very nice. By the way, I'm sure someone's mentioned this before, but the fucking Oris image on Fragrantica is so fucking annoying. It just looks like pita breads.
That's what it kind of looks like, though.
Yeah.
Is that what it looks like?
Yeah,
is that what Oris looks like? Oh, right, okay. Well, every time I see it, I go, oh, it's got a pita bread now. Brilliant. I liked it. I couldn't claim to love this one. So I'm going to let you guys talk about it more. Ben, why do you love it so?
I think I liked the almost the quite subtle way it crept up on me. I think that was what really done it. And I think it was the contrast between when I first sprayed it and I was like, I don't rate this. And then like 5 minutes later, I was like, whoa, actually, this is really fucking good. And then, I like that when something makes you sort of stop and think, hang on a minute, I thought I'd already worked this out. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd smelt it once and gone, yeah, I don't like this. This is whatever. This is boring. And then 5 minutes later, I just couldn't help but reverse and change all of that. And I really like that. But it's quite... Oh, well, no Amouage perfume is really simple, is it? But it feels simple for an Amouage perfume in that it doesn't feel like there's a huge amount of layers going on. But I really liked it for it. And it feels a bit like what you're saying with the bottle, it feels sensible. It feels like, smart. But it still feels Amouage, which I thought is really important for them to keep, is that it's, because Amouage are one of those houses where you smell it instantly and you go, yep, Amouage. Like, every Amouage smells very much like you would expect an Amouage to smell like, right? And I feel like it would be really sad if they'd lost that. And I really like that it was there. But I don't really know about I've not really said much about the perfume, have I? But I don't know what it is that I liked about it.
Julian Rasquinet, in collaboration with
it's
else.
Paul Guerlain.
Guerlain, it's a Guerlain dude.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's
PG.
right.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
It has a weird sort of underneath everything. It does have a weird sort of soapiness to it, which I liked.
So it's got that amberome molecule in it, which is a bit of a fucking weird one. Seems to present itself very differently in different perfumes.
Yes.
I found the texture of both this and Outlands. They have the texture in the dry down is really similar to the dry down in Meander, and it's that very creamy, soft, spiced incense that I feel is quite like an Amouage stamp, and it's so classy. It doesn't shout, it doesn't screech. There's no any woody ambers that they use are used in such delightful quantities. There's no screech, there's no it just feels like class. It feels like this, and this feels like a very sweety, spiced, eggy pudding, almost Christmassy, warm, woody, classy, semi-gourmand. It's not a gourmand,
it has
but
that
feels like semi-gourmand
sort of thing, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, the amount of spices in it, for me, make it feel semi-gourmand. It feels edible. It feels like you could chew the air a bit.
Do you know what? I think that the spice element is probably just coming from a mixture of resins, tolu balsam, Styrax, whatever. Because you do definitely get that right. So when I first sprayed it, it starts extremely powdery with like a kind of rose orris kind of smell, and then it gets very like, oh, it's going to be quite orrisy, and then you've got that little sparkle of like the Amouage kind of incense magic to it. So you know it's this classic, almost like powder puff sort of like, yeah, you know, we know this sort of perfume, but it's very, very satisfying. And then, I mean, now that it's dried down, the thing is about using resins, right? Using properly, very sparingly, exactly right. They don't come across heavy. They go like powdery and light and kind of wonderful. Like, it's amazing that you've got this thing that's so concentrated, but then when you kind of use it kind of in this like spacious kind of way, you get this really powdery light sort of feeling. Now that it's drying down, I can definitely smell the amber arome. So amber arome is something that I have a total love-hate relationship with, because it very much depends on the dose and how you use it and all that kind of stuff. It's got this like animalic quality of labdanum, but this is like absolutely pitched completely perfectly to the point where you get, it starts to just go to that like, is it going to go into that like weird thing that I don't like, and then it just kind of pulls itself back, but then it's got all this other lovely powdery resin stuff. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know why I didn't spray it. I think because Dan kind of put me off it. I tried the other two. I've worn the other two this week, and I didn't wear luster because I was like,
what did I do?
I'm blaming you. No, I this is actually
no, right,
really
okay.
kind of, you know, it speaks to how much I kind of thought of your opinion. Notice the past tense there.
Yeah, I no longer rate.
No,
fuck
but,
your opinion.
Genuinely, because you'd been saying about how much you love that, and there was just a lack of chatter about luster, so I thought, oh, luster's probably not that good. But by far the best one. I mean, the other two aren't bad either. The other two.
Oh,
aren't
really?
bad.
Okay.
But that one, fuck me, is like really nice.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised. I thought it would be the one that I would like, and you lot would all say fuck her. I don't know what gave me that impression. That's just what I felt like.
It definitely wasn't a fuck that for me. I am genuinely surprised that all three of you love that one so much. So for all of you, that's the best of the three, right?
Oh,
not the best.
Oh,
for
really?
Me,
not the
for
best?
Me, it's
wow. It gets better, Ben. Bloody hell!
I told you I'm full of positivity these 2 weeks. I've had a great.
And when you were doing that thing before, you said
Crazy
brilliant so many times. It was like that. In milk, brilliant. Shit.
In milk, brilliant.
This is brilliant.
We tried. Do you like cheese? Do you like peas? Right. Go on, Fliss. Sorry, we interrupted you with brilliance.
Oh no! No, I was just agreeing with Ben. I just think that I think all three of them are brilliant, but Luster for me was the best.
Okay.
And I would happily see that as like a winter signature scent for me.
Okay.
I would wear that every day.
Okay. Well, let's then talk about reasons. See, it bothers me a lot. The reasons is called reasons, whereas the one
Luster.
we were just talking about, whose name I've forgotten, Lustra, smells of raisins, should have been called reasons. It should.
Well, funny you should say that, because when you were saying, "Oh, there's one that smells of raisins," I was like, having not smelled Luster, which I don't think smells of raisins, by the way, but the one that
enough.
I did potentially think could smell of raisins was Reasons, and only because of that.
I think the name is really naff though, because reasons. Yeah, it's just got reasons. Yeah,
No.
It's reasons. It's not even just called reason, like the intellectual comprehension of something that's reason.
So what you're doing there? So what you're doing there is something that my boss used to do, which is called the silly voice deprecator, and
totally.
So if you want something to sound stupid, just say it in a stupid voice. Reasons? Oh, fucking reasons, is it? And suddenly it sounds stupid. And if you want something to sound grown up and sensible. You say it's grown up.
Well, then you say it like
exactly.
this.
So
yes,
reason,
absolutely.
Reasons.
Well,
just reason.
But it's not reason, though, is it? It's got the S on the end.
So
as soon
as you put the S on,
so
you go, reasons. Fucking hell, reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is complete. It's the S. It's
well.
Yeah. Why? Have you got more than one reason?
How many reasons does one need? Okay, let's talk about the perfume, right? So you don't like the name. I get it.
I don't like the name, but that's
that's
what's in a name. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Indeed. So reasons is by a Bertie. It's a Bertie douche.
Yeah. It's a Bertie douche.
Ben, was this your favourite of the three?
Yeah, it's fucking phenomenal. And do you know what it smells like? And the reason I love it so much.
The reasons you love it so much.
And actually, if we do get onto those questions that you posed to us earlier, this is one of them because I feel I'm noticing a trend. But this reminded me of like hints of like early 90s masculine sort of like things with that kind of sunshine and loveliness. But it still had that Amouage kind of spice to it. There's a really spiciness in there that keeps it grounded and stops it feeling like a tacky 90s, rehash. It still feels like modern and Amouage and deep and nice and resinous, but it's like this weird resinous take on a bright sunshine of the early 90s or the mid 90s, I guess you'd say. But I fucking love that to bits. It's like Eternity, like Calvin Klein Eternity. Like it doesn't smell like Calvin Klein Eternity, but it reminds me of that, but like new and spicy and modern and resinous, and that's brilliant because I love those perfumes. There's a huge nostalgia to them for me. But I loved it.
So there's one of those Bond number 9 ones that's got like a roasted chestnut sort of thing going on, and it sort of feels like the Bond number 9, but someone's like fucking snuck up behind them with like have you seen that torture where they put rubber tires around people and set fire to them to kill them? It's one of those like things that drug cartels do. Really nasty shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So imagine the scene. Someone eating chestnuts, wearing Bond number 9, probably all preppy, looking all preppy, and someone's literally run up behind them, shoved 3 tires on them, set fire to them, and that's what this perfume smells like. It's like that sort of burning cypriol kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like petrol. There's something utterly filthy in the sort of core of this perfume, but that is sort of juxtaposed with this kind of lovely kind of sweet piquant like chestnut sort of vibe. It's fucking bananas. I think it's absolutely fucking bananas. That juxtaposition, a bit like the Fire Within, it doesn't sort of last all the way through. It's sort of like the hard and soft edges kind of work together, and you end up with something much sort of easier going in the dry down. But at the first few minutes, for me, it smells like 2 perfumes trying to pull in different directions. It's all a bit fucking mad. I really enjoy it, saying all of that. It's my second favourite of the 3, though.
Yeah. So
James. yeah. No, none of that bullshit from me.
So no,
man, it's all bullshit.
Agreed. I actually think it's a fantastic perfume to sit and smell and go, oh, isn't Bertie clever? Oh, hasn't he done this, that, and the other? But wearing it was pretty fucking lackluster for me personally. I love the opening. I love the kind of the tickly sort of high frequency cinnamon and like pink peppery kind of like sweet weird thing. It's kind of generally smooth, like the cardamom and that kind of nutty element. I do like pretty much any kind of nutty notes in a perfume, and this is extremely nutty, and it goes with the base materials. So the weirdness that potentially is in there is Palo Santo. Now, we all know Palo Santo.
Yeah, and it comes up late. When the dry down, it rams it home. And all I could remember was that shit that you sent us and how it stank out my lounge for ages.
Oh, he's controlled it. He's tamed it in this, yeah. But there is a perfume. There's a perfume by Bertrand Duchefort that is by some naturals brand who have like a guy with a hat is their logo. I can't remember what they're called, but they're in Javoy and wherever. Yeah, the logo's like a geezer with a hat. I can't remember what they're called. They've got some. No,
like
they've got some stupid name like fucking something about world fragrances or something. I don't know. I did try them ages ago.
Oh, okay.
And they had one that was a Palo Santo one, and I was like, oh, Bertie's made this. What's he done with Palo Santo? Horribly overdosed it to the point where all you could smell was that Palo Santo, and it had that minty, rubber, weird fucking oddness to it. But it does have a lovely sandalwood, and if you bring it into a sandalwood accord, it could be tamed. This is an example of exactly that. That's probably in there in very minimal, but it gives like this extra creamy lactonic quality, goes with the nuttiness, goes with the cardamom. It all works together, and also it's very musky in the base, which I love that kind of soft enveloping like musk. But I wore it and I was just not that arsed about it. I love the opening, kind of lost, it kind of loses the opening and then you get all this dry down.
I love, by the way, how eloquently you describe the perfume, and then when it comes to describing how much you liked it, you say, well, I wasn't asked.
No, I wasn't. That's surprising to me because
I'm not
it
asked.
kind of stimulated me. I went, yes, okay, I get it. I like it. I like what's going on here. I'm enjoying it. But if it's not for me to wear, then I might as well. Well, no, it might as well not exist because it existed. I tried it. I talked about it. It raised something in me. So it's not, oh, that's a complete piece of shit perfume that doesn't matter to me, or I've smelled it before or whatever. I haven't smelled this before because this is, an entirely kind of new composition. Yes, it's all still the same things mixed up, but, in slightly different ways, and it's coming at you in different ways. So, yeah, I did enjoy it, but I'm just not that bothered. So the other one, Luster, I would wear the shit out of that, right? This one I did wear the other week, and I wasn't that bothered. I was ready to be wowed. I was ready to be like, right, I'm going to be converted by this. And I just wasn't. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good perfume, because it really is.
Right. Interesting. And Fliss?
I loved it. I think I loved all of them. I think as a trio, as a triptych, they hang together just beautifully, and they have facets of them that feel very texturally similar. This creaminess and the sort of elements of the spice, they feel as if they hang together really beautifully as a line. I think of the line, this is the one that I would wear the least because I feel it's the most masculine. But in terms of just smelling it, I think it's phenomenal. It's bright. It's sort of complicated enough to keep you interested. I think the dry down is this beautiful wood, and there is this nutty creaminess to all of them. And yeah, I mean, I just think they're all as classy as fuck, and I think that they're as a trio of delicious, and they are delicious. There is something delicious. There's mouth-watering about all of them in a different way, and I think that they're great. This one is maybe the least for me because I feel it's the most masculine, but I still think it's fantastic.
Okay, so Ben, this is your favourite.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. This is my favourite.
But
they're all just fucking brilliant. I love them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were all fucking brilliant. But I think this is my favourite, and I think weirdly it's the same reason for Fliss that makes it not her favourite, in that it has that kind of masculine thing, which normally I don't wear this sort of masculine perfume, but I think because it's so spiced up and because it's got that creamy elements and things like that, I feel I can jive with it a bit more, and I just love it.
So I hate I hate to be the guy complaining about performance on a perfume, but the thing that perplexed me ever so slightly about this, because it's such a sort of enormous, like you look at the list of notes, right? You smell that opening sort of experience, and you just think, well, fuck me, this is going to go on for eternity. But actually, for me, it didn't. A few hours later, I sort of settled down into a very quiet, dry, woody, which was nice, but I mean, not nuclear at all. And that, I don't think that didn't disappoint me as such, but it sort of surprised me somewhat. I just felt like this was going to be, like from the opening, it's a bit like Epic in that regard. So Amouage Epic for me, notwithstanding the fact that James has got this ancient bottle from like yesteryear that probably doesn't quite behave in the same way that everything else does, but the current sort of stuff still has that sort of huge kind of almost like stadium kind of opening, but then just like, I don't know, a few hours later I couldn't smell it at all, and this similarly it did not last all that long for me, which again, not a problem as such, just surprising given the style, really.
That Paolo Santo was haunting me in my sleep.
Really?
It lasted ages on
chasing you around.
Smell it. Yeah, and it did seem to outlast everything else. So I don't know if it was just because I'm still kind of traumatized by that shit that James sent us that time. But it got to the point where it was all I could smell after about. But this is like 12, 14 hours in.
Wow.
And it was like all I could smell. But it ran all day and night for me.
Okay, well, to sort of rid you of the what must be almost intolerable suspense. Reasons was the bottle that I was sent, and Outlands, the last one, is the bottle that I bought, because I tried Outlands and I was like, holy fuck. And Outlands is the Cecile Zarokian one. For me, it was hands down.
You love her so much.
I don't know if everything she's done, she can be, I mean, like most perfumers, I guess, depending on the brief and stuff, but this one, fuck, I just, and there's something particularly, pathetic insight into my fucking sartorial habits, but I have about 100 hoodies, because for some reason I just live in hoodies. So I tend to wear them for a day, maybe 2 days. If they're not dirty, they just go back in the cupboard and then they get, pulled back out. They get washed, obviously, when they need washing. But I wore this hoodie that I sort of pulled out, and I'd worn a couple of days previously with the sample of Outlands. And the hoodie just smelled fucking incredible. I was like, yeah, this just, I have to have this. I love this perfume. I do not know why I love it so much. I couldn't really describe it in any satisfactory way, and I'm surprised because I think it feels like quite a patchouli dominant perfume, which is unusual for me.
I was surprised that you liked it so much, because I know that you're not a big pink pepper fan, although it's Szechuan pepper. For me, the pepper, the blast of pepper at the beginning is really strong. And so when you were saying in the chat that this is your favourite, I was like, how do you get past that pepper to that bit that you love? Or in this case, is the pepper something that you're cool with?
I'm cool with the pepper. It's pink pepper that tends to give me the heaves. And to be honest, I get more of that sort of fizzy cardamom kind of pop at the beginning. But I don't know. This is it fucking? I'm just looking at the notes here. I'm trying to work out what the fuck it is. So there's a sort of the patchouli, and maybe it's like saffron patchouli combo or something in the heart. But it's I think it's devastating, and the patchouli is like sort of, it's dead mid, right? Because some patchoulis are like dry, parchmenty. Some are really damp and like herbaceous, vegetal or almost. This is like dead mid, like not fucking getting distracted. I'm not going to go piracy. I'm not going to go full on fucking, mulch. It's just
it stays quite green and almost dewy. It does it when you say like that damp patchouli. It doesn't go to that damp dark place. It stays quite fresh, doesn't it?
It does, and then there's just like a fucking whiff of like I'm just looking at the notes, and that does explain it. There's just a whiff of like Baccarat Rouge typeness to the base as well, and it says maltol. I don't know. Is that the
that
same as
natural
ethyl maltol?
The ethyl maltol
molecule, the synthetic, and maltol would suggest that it's probably from some natural source.
Right. Okay. Well, whatever the fuck it is, it's some sort of like voodoo going on here. It's just, I think it's spectacular. So
I'm wearing it today. It's my scent of the
James.
day. Yeah, it is.
S02EP.
And it's disappointing, frankly. Just to burst all your bubbles.
Oh,
no,
really?
It's really good. It's that Zarokian kind of magic. She's definitely got into like a groove in her career, certainly for Amouage anyway. And those big, heavy, kind of greasy, sort of heavy-hitting, ambery kind of thing. And when I first sprayed it, I was like, wow, again, you're overwhelmed with top notes like this kind of Szechuan pepper thing and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, yeah, I kind of know the direction of this perfume. It's that really heavy amber and sort of patchouli-ish sort of thing. But then as it dries down, it becomes more of like a rose, like you're talking about rose ouds being this has a slight rose oud fucking vibe to it. And again, it might be those opulent things like saffron and stuff and the patchouli and whatever kind of conjuring that. So, all right, it's not like rosy in like the traditional like sense, but to me, it's reminiscent of some of those like opulent rosy type perfumes as it's kind of dried down. But then there's still that, like something more there, like you say, like a kind of gourmand, something else. And it's very strong and tenacious, and I've no doubt my clothes will smell wonderful tomorrow, and probably for a fucking week.
Yeah, they will.
I might even go back to it. Well,
about a fortnight.
Go back to it and go, oh my god, what was this? I want this. But that's what she's doing at the moment, and I only would say, like I say, on balance, I did like all of these, and I think it sounds like we all did. And I think this one would be my least favourite, but that doesn't mean that I don't think it's any less like complicated or cool or whatever. And I'd definitely wear it. I mean, I'd find this more wearable than Reasons, for example, just because it's more familiar to me. Reasons is probably more creative and a bit, weirder. And Luster, the one that I've just tried now, is just phenomenally beautiful. So I think it's pretty good. And Outlands sounds kind of badass, doesn't it? It sounds like I don't know, like some kind of outlaw Badlands. I don't know.
Yeah. Badlands, you can imagine some sort of futuristic
like a Mad Max
time cowboy
scenario, but with
exactly. Yeah, Mad Max, perfect. Yeah. Good, love it. Ben, have you talked about this one? No, just me babbling on.
Yeah, it's my least favourite of the three.
Get fucked.
But so that's the thing. I say it's the least favourite of the three, but
you still.
I love it. I think it's brilliant. It's it's got a little hint of that. I think because of the spices and the sort of powderiness of it, gets that kind of slight hint of that biscuity kind of texture that we were talking about the other week.
Yeah.
That's just a very touch of that, which I love in perfumes anyway. I think it's great. The sweetness is quite surprising because it almost feels like it shouldn't be there because you've got all these spices and stuff, but you have this quite overt sweetness to it because it is. I think it's the sweetest of the three by some margin. But it works and I love it. It doesn't feel Like it feels like it should be over the top and a bit sort of like, oh, but it is, but it isn't. If you know what I mean, like that's
it is, but it
tricky.
isn't.
Yeah, I know that sounds stupid, doesn't it? What I'm saying, I guess, what I'm trying to say is like, the trick is pulled off well, I guess, because it's this overtly sort of sweet element to it that hits you in the face, but it still feels like it belongs. It doesn't stick out or sort of feel like an angle or a jutting out element that's sort of spiking out of it. It still feels like a nice round, smooth item or element, or it works as a whole. It's it's great. I love it. I say it's my least favorite of the three, but but in this sort of context, you're basically saying like 10, 9.8, 9.5. It's they're all fucking brilliant. I was really shocked actually at how much I enjoyed all three. I loved it.
Nice. Okay, Fliss.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just think they hang together really beautifully, and I would happily wear any one of them. It happens to be that Luster is my favourite, but I think this is delicious. And it's unusual as well. That big pepper start, I think, is sort of really brave in many respects, but it also reminds me of that pepper start in Epic Woman as well. So it's like, it's not something, it doesn't feel un-Amouage. I think all of these feel as if they are based in a historical kind of Venn diagram of Amouage, and like I said, that stuff about meander, that I think in all of them you can smell something that you can link back to another Amouage perfume. So even though the bottles have changed, I feel as if they sit very well in the line as a whole.
Yep.
Outlands has a little bit of myths to it, which is a really unpopular Amouage that's discontinued, but I love it. But it has a little element of myths to it.
I think Luster has a little element of Memoir Woman as well. I think you can feel the tentacles of Amouage touching.
There is a new Exceptional Extrait coming, I believe. And I think it might be Memoir. I might be wrong about that.
Wow.
But I think...
I mean, that's strong as fuck anyway. Do you want it any stronger?
Well, I mean, you could say the same about fucking Interlude. Probably the same about Reflection and Jubilation. To be honest, I mean, these have never been reasons to hold back for Amouage. Good. Well, look, I'm glad everybody enjoyed those so much. So, it sounds like no one's hypercritical of any of them. It's interesting to me that probably my taste runs quite different to yours. I mean, I certainly didn't dislike. I can't even remember the fucking name. Luster. I don't know why it won't stick in my head, that word. I didn't dislike Luster, but I did not love it. I was surprised at how much you guys all did love that, but that's cool. That's
I
why
thought
we do
Reasons
this.
would be the one that would be your favourite. Like I know I sort of chucked it in the group chat, didn't I? But I was,
thought so
as soon as I
too.
smelt it, I was like, this is the one that Dan likes.
Reasons is my number 2, and it's a close call. But and I suspect if they'd sent me a bottle of Outlands and a sample of Reasons, I may well have gone out and bought the bottle of Reasons. It just happened to be the other way around. But yeah, I literally had a mate go into fucking Harrods because it's the only place you can buy them. So I had a mate go into Harrods and buy it for me. That's how fucking sad and desperate I was. So good. Okay. Well, look. I feel like we've not left ourselves quite enough time, but I do want to do a few Christmassy sort of things, year in sort of review type thing. Now, hopefully, I assume James has not prepared his answers for this because it's
no,
it's not really.
I did try. I looked at them and went, let's just do it on the night. That's me.
Yeah, do it on the night. Exactly. Fliss, what was your biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise? It's hard. I've got a couple. I guess I was really surprised how bowled over I was by Roger's Goodnight Kiss. I wasn't expecting to love that quite as much as I did.
Yep.
I was expecting to be much more grumpy about it, but I just went hook, line, and sinker. It's fine.
Did.
I certainly fucking did, yeah. And then in terms of like new things, there's a Spanish concession on the Howard 6th floor called
Fugia.
Anyway, they're Spanish and it's all dark, and you go in and they've got like 15,000 million bottles, and it's all very artisanal. And I'd never spent any time there before. And earlier,
I thought
yes, you're right. It's Patagonia. Patagonia, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were Spanish as well, actually.
Patagonia.
But there you go. So Patagonian.
Yeah. No, it's Patagonia. And I went in and I had a really, really lovely couple of hours just sniffing everything. And I was really surprised that I was so, what's the word? I was so entranced by an entire brand and the brand experience. And the guys there were very, they knew I wasn't going to buy anything. It was fucking obvious.
The bottles come in little wooden boxes.
Little wooden boxes, yeah.
Little wooden bottles. It all feels very artisanal, and the bottles are all kind of hand blown, and there's like all these backstories about how every single ingredient is delicately sourced from the hands of virgins or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, from Givaudan. Virgins or Givaudan, I don't know. Anyway, either way. But as a brand experience, I really enjoyed myself, and the guys were lovely, and it surprised me how uncynical I was.
Well done, you. Ben.
Yeah.
Ben, biggest surprise.
Enigma pour homme, parfum pour homme. I you know what? I'm like, I sort of went into all of those Rogers like, yeah, I know what it is. Fucking Roger.
Yeah, I'm better than this perfume.
And then I smelled it and was like, I fucking love it though, and I've worn it loads. So yeah, I guess that one was caught me a little bit with my pants down.
Hey, nice. Well, that's a lovely thought. James, have you?
Aww.
Have you?
Look, we've still got 3 minutes left to mention some rimming. Get in there, Ben.
Well done, Fliss. I mean, thank you for coming back and lowering the tone. I can't believe you just out of nowhere said rimming.
Well,
I mean, it's like,
people say,
just go for it.
Ben has got his pants down. And, if he doesn't mention rimming in an episode, then I get disappointed, so I thought I'd just help him out.
God.
So, yeah, we got the criticism, it's like a sausage fest now. You've gone back to your crude little jokes and, Fliss isn't there to sprinkle a bit of, like, feminine, I was like,
exactly.
Fucking right. Okay. So she's back with back with a vengeance. Right. My biggest surprise is that I tried a Henry Jacques for the first time, courtesy of Dan. Thank you, Dan, this week. And it was fucking spectacular. So I hate the brands. They can fuck off unless they want to sponsor us or send us some shit. But they won't because they're another one who's just not ours.
They don't even reply to fucking emails, mate. They don't. No. I had a chipped bottle once, and I wrote to them asking if it was possible to buy a replacement piece of glass, and they didn't even fucking reply.
Yeah,
so, exactly. Get fucked, peasant. This
is the thing that the whole they've got all this like history and stuff. In actual fact, this is an old vintage bottle, isn't it? But the Om that you sent me. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Did anyone else try that Om? Did you send that to everybody? Fuck me.
I've not tried it yet.
Fliss, have you tried it? Oh my good God.
No, I have. I have. It's very hom. But it just reeks of glass.
Really good. I wore it the other day and I was like, okay, do I really want to spend like £1,000 for something that's like as as good as like a vintage Koros, or maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit like Balenciaga. But it's got like all those like treasured masculine kind of things. But it is actually a little bit more than that, because like through the day I was like just completely wowed by it, and it's very animalic, and it's got that like Costas dirty hair kind of like vibe, but it's also got loads of really glorious like things in it, and kind of sandalwood, and mate, it's so good. Like, it's really good. I've got to say yeah, it's fucking well.
It really
good.
is, isn't it? It really, really is. It smells like one of those really old kind of like 60s, 70s vintage, but it's still it's so bright, and it's so smooth, and it's just, it does all of the things that all of them do.
It's leathery,
but just
woody, musky. It's incredible.
It's got that medicine cabinet from when you were a kid smell, hasn't it? It's
yeah.
Yep. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad I was still able to bring something of a surprise there. My biggest surprise has been a Louis Vuitton Ombre Nomad.
Yeah, amazing.
And the reason it's a surprise is I've tried it pretty well every year for like, I don't know, whenever it came out, and gone, I don't like that. Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that. And then this year, like, oh my fucking God, I'm just absolutely in love with it. I don't know why. I don't know how that happened, what changed, but something changed, and I'm like, this perfume is fucking amazing. And I don't even get it. But
you like Nouveau Monde, didn't you? Which...
So I had a similar experience with Nouveau Monde as well, which was like, I'm not quite sure about it at first. And Nouveau Monde is slightly different, because I think Nouveau Monde is almost like Ombre Nomad light.
Yeah.
It's a bit easier going. But I'm just and I love them both now, and I don't really know what happened there, right? Because they're just and actually I would say the same about Oud Ispahan as well, which is like one of those perfumes that I've never. So this year has just been sort of a year where a bunch of stuff that previously I never really enjoyed has suddenly clicked into place and gone, oh mate, that is so fucking good. And Ispahan in particular, I got hold of like a 2013 bottle, and it's just night and day different to the current formulation. It's got this kind of glorious patchouli heart to it, which just isn't present at all in the current formulation. I just fucking honestly surprised.
Well,
would be
Dan,
an understatement.
No, I'll do it in a regional accent. If you like Ombre Nomad, have you tried Monte Carlo by Shitty Clone fucking Aromas? It's exactly the same, but that's £300 and that's fucking 20p. Do you know what I mean?
It's 20p.
It's exactly
this
the
is
same,
20p.
It's fucking the same.
It's fucking genius. That
bollocks.
It's the same. Yeah. Why pay for the branding? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's better. And yeah. Anyway, so that's absolutely wowed me. Okay, best buy. I know, James, you bought some stuff this year. You went on a buying spree.
I did actually. I haven't bought anything since.
So what was your best buy?
God, what was I doing? And my best buy. I mean, I've got to say. I would say so. I think a notable mention would be. I
thought you were going to say noted aromas.
Chanel the Bois Noir, because I got that. And in actual fact, I'm not disappointed in it. I mean, it smells like Egoist to me, a slightly maybe tweaked, slightly different version of Egoist. But I wasn't like. I'm not too arsed. It was more like it's a piece of history that I wanted. So I got it. And
yeah, absolutely.
So that was good. But that's not the one. The one is Iquitos. Iquitos is my best
the Alain Delon.
by a million miles. I actually got a really pristine bottle, like from Japan it was, and it had not been touched, it had not even been opened, like the box was all pristine and everything. It smells pristine, do you know what I mean? It smells like it's not lost anything. It doesn't smell like vintage at all, apart from that it's like really good. It doesn't smell degraded. It just smells absolutely like mind-blowingly good, and I wear it. I've worn it a few times actually. I've probably worn that more times than I've worn Over the Musk, like in the past year. Seriously, like I was saying that before. Yeah, even though I love Over the Musk,
5 times in
but
7
I know
years.
it's at the back of my cupboard and I know where it is and I can just wear it whenever I want. But this Iquitos, I've been reaching for it loads and I've been like, I've already, the price is already depleted of that bottle now. But I don't give a fuck because I'm just going to use the whole thing probably because I love it. I love it.
Nice. Okay. Fliss, best buy of the year.
Couple of cheapies. The Cabochard Grey.
Oh, yeah,
you remember us all going into Cabochard for like 12 quid. That really blew my mind earlier in the year. And L'aimant by Coty, which is basically what Goodnight Kiss was sort of like modelled on. That it's like a $9.99.
And is that still in production?
For me, that there is enough similarity for me to keep. You can get it really cheaply. You can get vintage ones as well. It's a lot more aldehydic at the top. So if you're expecting a complete dupe, it's not, because what Roger has done is just kicked out all of the old-fashioned aldehydes off the top, and it's Goodnight Kiss is so much more modern. But you can smell in the dry down the intense similarities. My best buy of the year, apart from those two cheapies, was Playa Linda by Chronotope. And I wore the fuck out of it in the summer, and I bought a bottle. I think it was maybe May, and by the end of the summer, I barreled through half of it. And I wore it. It was a real touchstone for the summer, and it was lovely. It's a phenomenally beautiful osmanthus metallic beach scent without it being sun creamy or whatever. It's a really lovely skin floral beach scent, but I think I also love it because I love Carter as well. So it felt very much as if Carter was with me when I was wearing it. So there's kind of like a double thing.
Excellent. Ben, your best buy of the year. You've just been staring at your shelf, haven't you?
I've been staring
trying
at
to
things.
figure it out.
Yeah, but the things I've bought so much stuff that I've loved this year. That's the shit thing. The hay. What was it? English hay. Loved that.
Yeah.
That was brilliant, and that was a surprise as well. That was fucking brilliant. But I think Royal Crown Imperator, just purely because I've worn it so much since I've bought it, and that's the only thing. It's not that I like it more than the others that I've bought or anything like that. I've just worn it more than the others. I've worn the shit out of it since I've had it, because I bought it thanks to you and Big Dave, and I've been after it for ages. And I thought, funnily enough, I was like, I'm a cheap bastard. It's expensive perfume. I'm not going to wear this like a lot. I'm going to wear it special occasions. But I've been wearing the shit out of it. It's just.
I've given up on that theory altogether. I wear fucking Henry Jacques to the gym now. I don't give a fuck. It's like it's got to be used. What's the fucking point? If I save it for that occasion when I'm going out or something, it'll fucking never get worn at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
I sort of thought about this a little bit. My best buy of the year is probably a bit of a boring one actually, but it's because it's so very me and so versatile, which is Creed Bois du Portugal. I got like a vintage 120 ml
with
bottle.
The shoulders still.
It's really lovely. It wasn't the best value purchase or anything. It wasn't even my favourite perfume of the year, but it's one of those perfumes that for me, owning it means that I will always have something to fall back on in any scenario, because there's not a single scenario in which that perfume isn't appropriate, I think, apart from maybe funerals, I guess. But it's so versatile, and for me that makes it a brilliant buy. But there's a few others. Go on, James.
Funnily enough, I went to a funeral the last 2 weeks. Yeah,
that doesn't sound funny.
My auntie died.
Sorry about that.
And we went to a funeral. That's okay. We went to her funeral, and I actually thought to myself, like, I can't even remember what I wore, but I wore something quite modest and a couple of sprays of it. It wasn't even, I wasn't even really like thinking about that. But I could smell other people while I was there quite strongly, and it was mainly the funeral director people, like the strapping lads that carry the coffin and all that kind of stuff. They all smelled really strongly.
Links.
I don't know, maybe like Aventus clones or like Sauvage type shit, but it was quite strong.
Aromas.
Yeah, stuff that was like, you could smell them. Actually, one of them was wearing either Oud and Bergamot cologne by Joe Malone, or that Hermes one that smells like it, Agar Bien. So or some other kind of thing like that, but something that smelled like that. Tasteful, do you know what I mean? Not too much, but quite strong. Quite strong to the point where you could smell them from like 10 feet away or something.
Yeah.
So, and I thought they do that every day and that's their job. And, they're probably, they've got to be presentable and smell nice. I understand that. But people often say, oh, yeah, don't, wear stuff to funeral or whatever. So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I still think wearing perfume to funeral is a difficult one. I mean, if you are going to wear perfume to a funeral, my advice would be not to wear a very strong one, because the last thing people need is to be fucking...
I'm not being morbid, but what about our funerals? I would want that place to smell like fucking,
yeah, we're different.
A perfume, shop or something with like the different people wearing different perfume. Wouldn't you? Like, wouldn't you just be like, just wear fucking...
Everyone has to wear Beaufort Ton Air. Like that.
That's. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I'm thinking more. At my dad's funeral, I'm sure I mentioned this, but my parents' next door neighbour, who's a good egg, but he showed up and he was clearly wearing Sauvage, and it was the EDT as well. So it's like that kind of nuclear, diffusive sort of scent trail, and we're in quite a small room, and I just thought, fuck me, do I really have to sit through Sauvage at my dad's funeral, for God's sake? Yeah, not the greatest move. All right, well, look, on the subject of not funerals, let's move ahead to one last question for you, which is really about next year and what hopes, thoughts, dreams do you have for the perfume industry over the next year, or what prediction? Take it where you want, but next year, where's it all going, or where do you want it to go, Ben?
So my hopes, right, are that Dior actually does something fucking interesting with their new perfumer and their new line. Like,
great
Christ, sort it out. You've got a new perfumer, do something. That would be nice. And my prediction, and this one, right, is I've noticed a bit of a trend that, like, those kind of mid-90s things are starting to make a bit of a comeback. And I wonder if we're going to see a bit more of that next year with those kind of bright, sunshiny, kind of more gendered, sort of masculine fragrances sort of make a comeback. I don't know. But it would be interesting. Yeah.
Definitely. I think both of those are excellent calls, actually. Fliss, what about you?
My hope is that Biche doesn't fuck up Hermes.
He's not.
That's my second thing.
I don't think he's going to Hermes. I think that's been debunked. No.
Has it?
I think that's not happening. My understanding was that Biche was linked to the job. He wanted the job, but he didn't get it because people went round going, oh, Biche is going to fucking Hermes, and before he'd been offered the job. Now, he's obviously furious at all his mates who fucking
When wombled on about
exactly. That was the story I got told. There may or may not be any truth to it, but my understanding is that Biche to Hermès is not happening. That's what I heard.
Well, I wish Biche much luck in the new year. Because I feel as if he's on a complete roll. He's on a total purple patch. He's even doing stuff for Lattafa at the moment as well, isn't he? He's so prolific, and I know that I'm not his biggest fan. I would never want him to not do well, but I would like him to do well outside of Hermès. That's all.
Yep, fair enough. Okay, any other thoughts for the next 12 months other than please, Biche, don't fuck up Hermès if you're there? Nah.
Not really. I feel like I want the end. I want people to see that beast mode is not the be all and end all of perfumes.
Beast mode. No, exactly. They should focus on panty droppers. I'd like a little bit of subtlety to come back. Yeah. Okay.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Good. James, your predictions, thoughts, hopes, dreams.
Haven't really got any.
Really?
No, I know. Just that. I mean, the thing about Dior, I thought what Ben was going to say was, my hope is that Dior do something creative with their new perfume. My prediction is that they won't.
I think that's probably a good call as well.
Yeah, I've spoken about this. Like I say, I went on with Rich the other night, and we were talking about this. So I've kind of done it to death a bit. And he was talking about all the background of, Chanel may sell, who could buy Chanel and what would their end game be and all this kind of shit. And just saying it like he's totally like, we had the conversation, is designer perfume dead? He was like, it's been dead for a long time and it's only getting worse, kind of thing. And I mean, I tend to sort of agree, like when he puts his point across, you go, yeah, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? You're probably right. But then I tend to be more optimistic than that, and generally think that there's always new creativity, there's always new kind of ideas, and brands can suddenly revamp and do things out of the blue that you don't expect and all that. They rarely, do you know what I mean? Fair enough. You pretty much know the MO and the direction that they're going in and stuff, but yeah, it's not looking that great. What do I want to see? I really don't know. I just things that are more focused on us, the minority, and not just pandering to people who don't really care about perfume, who can take it or leave it and don't really give a shit. The appeal tends to be, wanting to do that. Do us a bit of a service and give us some of the stuff that we want. Actually, maybe go on some of those message boards or wherever people are talking about perfume and take some of the fucking things on board and go, okay, let's try and give the people what they want. Because they do occasionally do it, some niche brands do it occasionally, they have some good concepts, some good ideas. But I want to see something mainstream though, you know what I mean? Maybe like a new mainstream men's perfume from Chanel, right? That's really fucking good. That's not like a blur. It's not like another one of these fucking, things. It's something really brave. It might even be like, going back to some kind of old shit or something. I don't know, but just do something that makes you go, oh, okay, they're all right, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all fair and reasonable. Okay, I mean my prediction, for what it's worth, is that I think we will hopefully see an end. It's a prediction and a hope, but that we'll hopefully see the end of this ludicrous kind of ultra saccharine, like gourmand direction of travel for kind of fragrances. Like, fucking stop it. We have enough gourmands. If you're going to do gourmands, be fucking Strangelove. Don't be fucking And actually, nothing against Kayali. They know their market, but Kayali do produce a lot of very sweet perfumes, most of which are now owned by my kids. My other hope is, of course, that Fliss will be able to return with us on a more permanent basis. Yeah, I had that one planned, you see. Yeah, very good me. Right, okay, fuck it. As much as I've enjoyed talking with you lot, I want to go to bed. So I'm going to say thank you on behalf of us to everyone who's listened this year. Fuck knows what you were doing that you didn't have anything better to do than to listen to us. You must be mad. But we appreciate you for it. We all hope you have a fantastic Christmas and New Year. And we will be back in January with more bullshit perfume talk with Les Oderants. Until then, until next time, see you soon. Bye.
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 Bye.